Welcome, Dan. Another episode of
Just Dance.
Just Dance. We're only Dans, and we're fans, and we're not in bands.
But we like to take or get tans, I guess.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
and I have played with some rubber bands back in the day.
And I used to ran.
Yes. I'm not an English teacher, but I like the sentence. When the structure of some sentences just grate you, you're like,
No.
ah.
English is not my strong suit.
But we saw some sun, and we have a...
Tan.
There we go.
Yes.
This episode, we are going to jump in very shortly, but I do need to say, we're Dans, we're dads, and we are
Husbands.
husbands, and we love our spouse. We love our spouses.
Very much.
Spouse.
Spousees.
I guess we don't have spice,
Speak for yourself.
but I'm not. Obviously, the other episode in terms of talking about Joseph, what's his name again?
Joseph Smith.
Yeah, that's not us. So we're not Joseph Smith, nor do we align with his teaching. We've got one spouse each.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're not spicy with spice.
We have spice, but just in a different way.
That's right, different meaning.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dan, quick, before we jump into our spouses, or no, actually, before we jump into who we are, that's just a quick kid story. And Murphy, our delightful youngest, and just before bed last night, he demolished half a punnet of blueberries. And we've got kids, and so you know what it's like when it's always at night time. I feel like the pre-bed is the key fruit time.
Yeah.
It's when our kids get a little fruity, and they demolish the fruit. And he demolished half a punnet of blueberries. And I had to take it away from him because I just knew what was going to come the day after. And I've cleaned enough diapers in my time to know blueberries equate to blue poo. And so he basically then was really impressed with his fecal matter this morning. And so he was that impressed and shocked that his older brother Ted, and now Ted, like the classic structure and the hierarchy of siblings, but Ted's not too impressed because Ted's trying to impress his older brother, So Murphy's trying to grab his older brother Ted, but Ted's trying to grab his older brother Hugo. And so eventually Ted obliged, given just classic Ted, all right, I'll walk in and Murphy drags him to the bathroom. Look, Ted, look. And Ted, not wanting to give too much affirmation. Wow, Murphy. That's it. And for Murphy, he's patting on the back.
Oh, he was
like,
so excited.
What happened? I got this really dark. And I was quick to jump in and go, there's a direct correlation. Blueberries, blue poo.
He was very excited about it. Rightfully so, though. I get it.
Man, isn't it interesting when kids... I think it was, I don't know what child, one of our children, they had another fruity moment having some strawberries. Next minute, they thought it was a bloodbath because then Nat or I think came in the room and all we just saw was like red in the mouth. And like how it gets between the teeth and stuff. So we just thought, because then coincidentally that someone was crying. So we like raced in. We thought there was a tooth situation, just strawberries.
Strawberry, that's it. It will get you.
Dan, every episode except for one, that done.
We're 19
one
for
episode
20. 19 for 20.
Is we cover a bit of weather, Dan, and I don't know if you've got a location, but we have talked climate rather than location. But I do want to go. I want to be specific. I want to go to a location. And I feel like we haven't given Africa enough airtime, and we haven't really covered anything on the continent about
You're right.
about Africa. And as soon as I think weather in Africa, I just think, well, nothing. I don't think anything. I've never thought that before. The whole continent. I can't tell you apart from just hot.
Well, for sure. And I think with all like the National Geographic, like that's all I think of is like desert. Not like desert as like Middle East desert, but just like hot land.
Yeah.
That's it. But then you also think Africa's massive. Obviously, it has to have different climate, different weather in different parts of Africa. But for the most part, it can't be cold in certain areas. I mean, maybe
does Africa have a winter?
I don't. To be honest, I don't know a lot about Africa. Now that we're saying this out loud,
I think like it would rain, wouldn't it?
parts of it maybe.
I've heard Zimbabwe. If you handed me a map of Africa, I probably couldn't like pinpoint which
I know where
one.
South Africa's at.
Yeah. And like poor the rest of Africa, like not poor. Like I'm not saying they're poor,
Right?
Like as in, why does South Africa get so much profile? You know, like
Why is it so different than
that's
Africa?
right. That's right. And we're not trying to be political. If you know the answer and you're like, oh, don't just relax.
We're just having a conversation.
Can you just dial it right down?
We're trying to learn, is what we're trying to do.
There's straight away typing there, but we love Africa.
But interesting point on about the rain, because the water hole is a very popular thing for animals to go to the water hole.
Buffaloes.
So there can't be a lot of water because they all go to. And maybe it's just Lion King or that new movie where they make it seem like all the animals go to one place to drink water.
If it wasn't for Lion King, our knowledge of Africa would really reduce.
It would be. I would know.
I credit a lot of my knowledge
To Lion King. Thank you, Disney.
And I don't know the lyric of the song, but really, I can't sing that successfully because I don't know what the.
Well, it is a different language, so.
So they haven't just picked like sounds.
Yeah, no.
Do you know how like in some songs it's like, you know, mbop? Like what is mbop?
Mbop is just, it's not a word.
I
see what you're saying, yes. But no, I could be wrong on this, but I'm like 90% sure it's an actual language.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to... Before we offend anyone, let's jump in. Dan, today we're going to just spend a little moment. Our episodes aren't too long. We're going to spend a moment on... I think it's important. We've lived a life, not a long life, but we've lived a life.
We're halfway through it.
So far,
almost.
And you just pick things up along the way. I love life, and I love you just learn new things, and you just tuck it away, and you will never use it again. So, Dan, quickly, what are some jobs you've had? What are some skills you've learned over the years?
I think the first official job that I had where it was like on paper was I mowed at a golf course. My friend's dad owned a golf course, and so I never got to do the greens. It was just like the fairways I mowed. Prior to that, it was like my other friend's dad had all this land, and so we would pick weeds because he planted tons of trees, bushes, and so we would just go through fields of hand picking weeds.
So that was your undocumented work?
Yeah, that was like probably 7th grade.
And where was that? What town?
That was in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Aberdeen?
Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Aberdeen, yeah. South Dakota.
And then when I was in high school, I some of my friends were working at this like call center for hotels. And so I was like, I want a job. I want to get, extra money. I want to be able to do my own thing. And so went in for interview, got hired. The day I was supposed to start the job, my dad called me on the way there, and he's like, just so you know, you have the rest of your life to work. From now until you're 18 years old, I'll provide food and your gas money. But once you turn 18, you're pretty much on your own. Like, you got to care for yourself.
Wow.
And so I actually didn't show up to work that day because I took his words. I'm like, man, like, he was like, enjoy high school for these next 2 years. Yeah. Like, if you want to work, go ahead, work. Like, I'm not against it. I want you to work, but you have the rest of your life to work.
Wow.
And so I took that to heart, and it was, you know, it was one of those lessons to where it was like, he was kind of forewarning me really when I was 18, you're on your own. And so when I turned 18 years old, it was like, you're a man now. You know, your finances are your finances. Obviously, I was 18 as a senior. And so there was like, I had a roof over my head. And then I think I got lunch money, but I think maybe some gas money. Outside of that, everything else was it. And then when I left the house, it was, you're a man.
Wow. Wild.
So I am very grateful for that, because I was able to have a lot of fun in high school with my friends, and I didn't have to go work. But once you start working, it doesn't stop. And that's
true.
really what he was trying to tell me. It was like, look, like, you'll have to provide for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so you have 2 more years. You can hold it off for 2 more years, or you can start doing it now. But then I kind of look back and I was like, man, I wish it probably would have helped me a little bit more with like a work ethic.
Yep.
Than opposed to, because I did missions pretty much right after, like through college, I went right into missions. So right after the missions field, it was straight in professional.
Yeah. Wow. Where there are some junior skills to learn, make mistakes.
Right.
You know, you were always learning.
What was yours? What was your very first job?
Oh, very first job. I think.
And was it official first job, or was it like kind of on the side as well?
Hazy. I'm trying to remember my first job. I think I would have been, grade 8, maybe grade 8. I don't think I was grade 9, and I worked in the bakery section of a supermarket. And but a bakery like a Publix or a Foodland back at home, that they would make their own there. Gotcha. It's not just like the truck delivers all the bread.
And you just put it in the oven and that's it, yeah.
That's right. So it would be that afternoon shift. So you're cleaning, scrubbing the floors, you know, you're discounting the stock to sell and move ready for the next day kind of thing. So that was, like, I learned, like, it was funky. Like, it stunk.
I mean, you're a heck of a baker. I'm not going to lie.
Stop it. And because then, like, when, obviously, yeast and when it proves... and all the humidity and just it's all, I don't know what happened, science. It stinks.
Science.
You know, so we had to like roll into these mass rooms of ovens and whatever, and it just scrub the floors, bleach everything. But I have to say, a skill I picked up is, man, I can tag a bag. And so where you see like your old school bread tags or your twisty ties, and because you'd have to like bag them, it's all about spin it, tag it, go. And the other day, some things as a parent, you're just like, how? And so the bag with the bread, obviously, fortunately, the kids either made themselves a sandwich or toast, but do the whole thing and do it well, you know? And so they've taken the bread out of the bag, and then they've just like the loose end of the bag, they've just folded, like one fold over it and popped the bread on it.
Good enough.
I walked down the stairs and I was a bit like,
hey, great job of making yourself your food, but
sit down.
You missed a step.
And I drew them an illustration, 3-step process. So that was a job I did for a couple of months. I think my brother was like, hey, can you... this is like 17, 18, I think, like call center work. And so I just had to call up and try and get referrals, you know, for him. It was only a couple of weeks, but you had to read out like a call center, the sentences. I've worked in the kitchen in an Indian restaurant, and I would always come in like during their busy time on a Saturday night. And it was only one shift a week, Saturday night. It was only for a neighbor who had an Indian restaurant, Chefs of Tandoori. And
wait, what'd you say?
It was called Chefs of Tandoori.
Gotcha.
And they had a tandoor there, like a classic clay tandoor. And the chefs have all been brought over from India, you know, to Adelaide. And the only English-speaking guy in the kitchen. And I was just like thrown just all these dishes. And you know curry. And curry stains. And dang, like, I'm scrubbing these bowls and it's piling up, and it's a height of summer, 110 degrees. There's a tandoor going, like a clay oven, along with all the open flames. I was like,
How old
It was
were you at this point?
I think 15. It was an experience.
How long were you at that one?
I lasted 6 months.
Okay, that's not bad.
And I felt awkward because it was a neighbor, but I was a bit like, yeah, I just can't keep going.
You still love curry. You just don't like washing
absolutely.
dishes.
And I still to this day I think they made the best naan bread I've ever had.
Is it still open, that restaurant?
Well, it was more fine dining, and so culture is shifting away from fine dining, and they couldn't compete really. And so then they tried like more of a to-go open, like hole in the wall kind of style in the city. I think they're still functioning. Okay. Like their butter chicken was, their vindaloo was whoo-hee. All the things. Whoo-hee. Like just you take one bite. Whoo-hee. And so, Dan, okay, where we've lived and where we've worked. The next one is where have you lived and what's something you've taken or picked up from where you've lived. So I don't know if you're listening now, if you are listening, and clearly you're not just watching. That'd be weird. Why would you watch without volume?
Just mute it.
And so I wonder if you can think about where you've lived and something you've picked up, okay? Something. Give me a fun fact about where. Okay. And who or what has impacted you from where you have lived.
Oof, that's good. Okay. I've lived in a few different places, so I'm going to do it fast and just quick. So that's Aberdeen, fine. South Dakota, born, raised. When they say like a Midwest people, they're just nice people. Like they'll just, I think that's one thing about the Midwest. And maybe it is like a small town thing. Everybody knows everybody.
Sure. When you say small town, how give me a population number.
Approximately 25,000.
That is not small.
Yeah. Really?
When I thought when you said small, I'm thinking 500 to 1,000.
Yeah, no, it's 25,000. I mean, it's the third biggest city in the state at 25,000. But it's just, small town, everybody's nice, everybody knows everybody. There's so many people that I could say had an impact in my life throughout those years. There was coaches, my youth pastor, Chris, awesome guy. Obviously parents, friends, but the second place, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I did missions school there. That was only for, a year if you add everything up. There was tons of people impact. I liked Minnesota, but it's very similar to South Dakota.
Sure.
And so there's really not much as far as scenery. They have more lakes. It's the land of 10,000 lakes. It says it on their license plate. So again, impactful time. I was there for a short time, but nothing to where I was like, this is my home. I knew it wasn't going to be my home. But then Iquitos, Peru, I was there for about 2 years. Colombia for about 6 months. I think that culturally, just the people, and they are so nice. Just the Latin culture. It's a warm culture, very relaxed, opposed to going from the U.S. where it's just nonstop. You go to Latin America, it really is more of a
So
relaxed.
they play hard, but do they work hard?
They work very hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is they have such a good balance. Now, obviously, you probably have people that work too hard or people that don't work hard enough, just like everywhere. But I just think in general, it's just a very relaxed life that they live. Almost like island living.
Yeah, wow.
LA, we were there for almost a decade. Absolutely loved it. I think the big thing that I learned there was culturally. There's so many different types of culture. There's so many different languages, so many different types of food. I loved it. I never thought I would leave LA. I thought it was the place I was going to be for the rest of my life. Very impactful just because I think it's where we started our family. That's where we, we didn't get married there. We got married in Colombia, but moved pretty much to LA immediately after we got married. And that's where we started to raise our kids. The community, what was hard about LA is people come and go. It's a transient city. Yeah, people come and they want to be in the industry. So you make really good friends, get close to them, and then they bounce. And so that was the hard part of LA. But Atlanta now is where we currently are. And it took a few years for me to start to like it, just because we moved right before COVID hit. Everything was closed down. But I will say the community that we have now is probably the best community we've been in for the time that like where we're at in our lives.
That's awesome.
And so just the friend group that we have, the church community we have, just that is the biggest blessing for me, because that's something that we prayed about in LA. It was like, man, like it's so hard to get connected because rarely.
And did you feel like in LA you had to work for it?
Very much so, yeah. Sure. Because a lot of people, like in your apartment complex, everybody has like 3 jobs. And people really don't get to know people. I mean, we had a really good neighbor below us in like our second apartment. This lady named Lisa who had 2 kids. Our kids were friends with their kids. But it's just people are coming, going. They really don't have time to stop, talk, community, listen. Now you'll have your pockets of it, obviously. Yeah. But it's harder to have that community when everybody's doing so many different things. So that's great. Yeah, I mean, I think for us, Atlanta is home. Yep. Like I don't see us moving anywhere in the near future. Like I said, the community that we have, the group of people that we're surrounded with is just the best. So we absolutely love it.
That's great. I think because every city has its distinct difference, but a lot of cities, like in LA or even Atlanta, they're a city people move to, and so. But there is a culture, but you just got to dig a little to find a native. You know, it's like, even here in Charlotte, it's exploding. But then you go, when you find a local charlatan, you're just like, you know?
And you're like, you're not going anywhere. You're from here. Like, this is your home. Yeah.
And they're like, I went to school down the road. And you're like, what? Same thing in Atlanta. When you find someone that is like, no, like my parents moved here or my grandparents moved here and, you know, I grew up here. You're like, oh, it does happen. You can actually just like live somewhere and stay somewhere. I think I have grew up.
I'm sensing an Australian accent from
Adelaide, the city, about 1.5 million population, and then
so a little bit bigger than my hometown.
A little, yes. But why I say it's not little, comparatively, is in South Australia, a state. I think the second biggest outside of Adelaide is, I think, Mount Gambier, and that's 20,000. Then you've got a 10,000, a 5,000, and that's it.
So are they close to Adelaide, though? Or are they like...
Mount Gambier is about 5-hour drive, between 4 and 5-hour drive. The Blue Lake is what it's known for. So it's a lake, it's like some chemical or rock, whatever, the mineral deposits, and it's blue. It's white.
Like Caribbean blue, like the water, like ocean? Or...
No, like as in, I think volcanic kind of, there's a mineral somewhere. And so, or it's a reflection. I don't know science. It's like blue, but like dark blue. And depending on time of day and season, it has different, you can't swim in it.
I was just going to ask you.
It's not like it's but it's not like it's crystal clear blue and you can see the bottom. No, it's like random.
So what do you do with the lake? You fish
in it? You drive past and you go, it's the Blue Lake.
It's just like a scenic view.
Now that I think about it, there's a lot of that in Australia. You don't get to participate. There's that.
Well, you were just telling me about some friends that live close to the ocean, and they can't even go in that part of the ocean.
Darwin, you cannot go in the ocean in Darwin. Thank you for whatever jellyfish has then made its way, I think, from like Asian waters down, and then it's hit Darwin, and they're like, it's unsafe to swim. And then there's crocodiles and things like that. But it's the jellyfish.
Wow.
So they've got a man-made,
Who would have thought that people would be more scared of going in the water because of jellyfish than a crocodile?
Oh, Australia is wild. And so Adelaide, I think we moved to Atlanta. When was that? 2020. And then it's just been a quick succession from there. Let's not move. Bang, let's keep moving. And so from Atlanta for 2 years. First of all, I think what I love about Adelaide is that you learn the culture of Adelaide is you make fun of Adelaide because you're from Adelaide.
Right.
But as soon as someone outside then has to go at Adelaide.
The pride.
Oh, watch out. But from an outsider, you would look in and go, but you just said what I just said, and now you hate me? It doesn't make any sense. So there's like unusual, like, oh, Adelaide, I can't wait to move out is like the general consensus. And then as soon as someone moves out, it's like, what? They moved? And it's like, but you just said you want to. Like, no. And so I don't know where these websites come. I don't know. I feel like every 6 months there's some voting website that selects Adelaide as the most livable city. So, but it's never the same metric. It's never the same website. And
so it's just people from Adelaide.
Either the politicians or the media department then just go, hey, let's need another good story. And someone's made some, account and be like, yeah, vote for the best city. Like, we're always in the top 10. But no other city really cares. I don't know.
So is it like a competitive, I don't want to say competitive, but like pride of Adelaide over Sydney, like...
Oh yeah, no, it's not. So we don't have beef with Sydney. We've got beef with Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah, so Kick a Vic. So they're from Victoria. Kick. You kick a Vic.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I don't know where the deep hatred for Victoria comes from, but we border another state, Victoria, and that's always been the rivalry. So it's like Adelaide versus Victoria. I think a lot of it for me growing up has to do with football. And so growing up, we had one, now we have two AFL teams. They've got 8 AFL teams. So that's like the home of football is Melbourne. I think a lot of it's there, but no doubt there's other things. Like we had the Grand Prix. They stole the Grand Prix. Also, I don't know, like really, it's business, guys. It's business. And so they stole the Grand Prix from us. And so the F1s then, so I went to the last F1 race when I was a kid in Adelaide, and then Melbourne now has the Australian Grand Prix. And so there's all these things that, I think Live Golf. So Adelaide is home. We have a Live Golf round, and oh man, all the debate, Melbourne's going to rob another sporting event from Adelaide. It's like, okay. And then we get the cycling. It's like, the Tour Down Under, we get the international cycling race.
What about cricket?
Oh, for sure. Cricket at least that's fine because they move around. Okay. And so you've got obviously Melbourne again, would be the biggest sporting city, I guess.
But not the best.
No, not the best. Absolutely not. No. Yeah, so I think when it comes to cricket, we've got prestige in Adelaide for sure. So it's Adelaide. Atlanta, we moved there, and I love, and I've always said, one of the things I really appreciate about Americans, you want to back a winner, and you can pretty much talk yourself into something in terms of business or venture or idea or concept or initiative. Australian culture, maybe even Adelaidean culture, would be we talk ourselves out of something. And, but what if? As America, it's the what if is what if? What if? What if? And just same what if, but just very different what if.
Right.
So that's, I think, what I loved about Atlanta, because it's a city that went from 1 million during the Olympics to now 7 million. Yeah. So that's 96. So from 96 to 2025, that's a huge jump. And so it's exploding city. Anyway, that's what we've learned. So and then we moved to Gympie for a year. Gympie, Queensland, a couple hours drive from Brisbane. And
where's the word Gympie? Because I feel like Gympie is kind of like a word that you would say, and not derogatory, but like...
It is. Just like own it. I think we don't have the same reference in Australia. So you would say, they're a gimp.
Yeah.
Because they've got like a gimp leg.
When they walk, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a thing.
So what's Gympie? Is it just a name? That's it? It's not...
You're asking me some history. I'm not a history buff. I can pull up some... But no doubt, Sir Gympie...
That's like you saying, what's Aberdeen mean? I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Gympie, I think, was like a God's gift. I think I love Gympie. And our family were embraced quickly there. But also the pace went from like full throttle in Atlanta to idle in Gympie. Because I think we arrived when COVID was kind of still around.
That's right, yeah.
And so therefore everyone was like, oh, I've got a fever. Let's cancel for the next month. It's like, oh, okay, we really want to do dinner, you know? And just, there was so many families we wanted to do dinners with and just nothing really gained traction. There was a chat thread where there was like 4 families that wanted to get together. It would never happen. And so I was there going like, we went from full throttle ministry to like, and back down to first gear. And it was like, I think God's gift, because it was there going, breathe. It's okay to breathe. And I think some cities teach you some things as well. It's like, let's just embrace that.
Where is Gympie located? So Adelaide, South Australia.
Yeah.
On a map, how far is Gympie from Adelaide?
Yeah, good question. Geographically, it would be, so on the east, but like northeast in Australia. So everyone knows the east coast of Australia. You've obviously got Cairns, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. So up here in Brisbane, it's inland an hour, kind of up and out.
Okay.
But you can't go diagonally for some reason, so you go up and out. But we were 45 minutes away from Noosa. Like, gorgeous. White sand, beautiful beaches, all the celebs.
And that's right. Everything's close to the beach, pretty much. Like most cities are right on the beach. But Gympie's not a big city.
Not a big city, 40,000-ish. I think the greater area is like 50, 20 in the city. They service a large area. They now have the Bruce Highway bypass. So Gympie was always like I've driven through Gympie. No one stays in Gympie. Okay. I think they were the drug capital a few years ago of Australia. They hold a few records that aren't great. But what we found is an explosion again, because everyone's gone, I can't afford the Sunshine Coast, 1 hour inland, Gympie, baby.
Yeah.
But now that's getting so high, you're like, now they're just pushing further inland. So that's cities, that's who we are. Dan, to round this out, because there's so much, we've lived a life. Dan, I'm gonna give you one attribute, okay? And I want you to think about something about who a quality, an attribute, that kind of thing. Because if you're listening again, it's not boasting. We're not LinkedIn. We're not living LinkedIn. Keep that to your LinkedIn. But I think it's important to learn to know who you are or reflect on that, whether it be negative that you can flip, or with every negative, with every shadow side, there's a positive side to it. Do you know? It's how you use what God's given you. Dan, I've always appreciated, and this could be your love of Latin culture, or you find a home there as well, and that is you don't allow time to stress you out. And I feel like you give off the appearance, you've never been too stressed about it, getting somewhere, doing the next thing, like whatever. But what that means is you're present. And so then if your child comes up, or if one of my kids comes up, it's not like you're dropping something to give them time. You're just giving them time, because you've got no agenda.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a good quality. And I liken it to neighbors and how that would translate to unknown neighbors. If someone rolls by and says g'day, you're not like, g'day, all right, move on, mate. It's g'day, how are you? And you'd stay there for the chat. And it's not until someone's like, all right, Dad, we're now 3 hours late. I've got a music recital.
Yeah, no, I think there's probably a few things. I just remember the times my dad would come home from work and spend time doing, like, whether it was just throwing the football, playing basketball, just if it was 5 minutes, that was like the best 5 minutes of my day.
Yeah.
And so there's the famous quote of like, people, they won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And so I always I do get stressed. I mean, I get very anxious a lot, but I try just be like, you know what, like, be in the moment, because that will be there when this moment's done. Like, work will be there when this moment's done.
Yeah. And
so enjoy the moment that you have right now. So it's, whether it's, I wish I could spend 5 hours playing with the kids, but I know I can't do that. So it's like, if I'm going to spend 10 minutes playing with them, I want to give them my full attention of those 10 minutes. But I really don't know, I think there's a mixture of a lot of things as to why I try doing that. Now, there are times where I do a very bad job at it, but it's just something you have to continuously remind yourself of and learn. It's not like one day you're going to wake up and be like, oh, I'm present 24/7 now. No, there's times where I'm on my phone, my kids are trying to talk, and I got to remind myself, shoot, got to pay attention then right now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So that would be...
I think you do a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to give you your flowers, and it's kind of along that same thing, but I think even just yesterday was a perfect example of who you are with strangers, with people we know. We went to wherever place we went to. I can't remember the name of it. Carowinds. And there was a kid there by himself that you could tell he had no friends. He, it's just one of those guys you look at, you're like,
you just know.
I know this kid gets made fun of. I know this kid has no friends. He's here by himself and he's just trying to talk to anybody. And you made him feel so welcomed in our little group of the ride that we were on. But that's just who you are. Like, I remember, no matter where we're at or who's walking by, you wave, you go talk to them. And I'm more introvert. Like, I'll talk to people, but it's hard for me to be like, hey, how's it going? Like, if you're going to talk to me, I'll talk to you. But I'm not going to, most times, initiate that conversation.
Interesting.
You could care less. You are just... will talk to anybody, everybody, and make them feel like they are so important in that time.
Yeah. I think the downfall is I'm learning, my wife pointed out on the Greenway, you can't greet someone too far away. So when they're walking towards you, I'm working on the distance because they're in the distance and I'm morning, but then they're walking towards you. And there's been times we've exchanged the morning, but I've done morning. They're like, creep, weirdo. Also don't understand him. So they give the facial expressions like, then they get closer and I ask them questions. Oh, watch their face.
I'm laughing so hard because I've seen it so many times. You're doing it. And it's not just with people you know. It's just random people too.
Oh, it's the facial expression. Well, Dan, it's been a good episode. It's about ourselves. We pick up things along the way. It's not just us. It's not a Dan thing. I think it's a you thing too. And I think it's important. It's really important every now and then to reflect on where we've been, what we've learned, who has impacted us, and who we've impacted.
Yeah.
I think it's a really hard thing as a school teacher. You think you are impacting lives. You don't really know that, though. But every now and then, years later,
for sure,
a student reaches out and is like, hey. And I think the same goes for cities, neighbours, people. We might never cross paths again with other people, but it's important to acknowledge that and share that. So it's been a good episode. Just Ends.
Great.